anda kude nami ngibona ithi ayingangami lento ngibiza i-accountant yami ngiya-reinforce manje base labantu bama-accountant bazongibuza imibuzo ye-accounting bese ngiyaxakeka manje ngibona ngilande nami engihlome ngayo ekuzothi uma benginyakazisa hhayi abanikeze abakufunayo.
Chief Financial Officer Dr. Police, thank you so much for your patience and for your attendance this morning. So we are ready to start. We are doing a post-council media briefing where we will unpack some of the issues that transpired in the council yesterday, but also some of the issues that have been pertinent and have been in the media space about the municipality over the last few weeks. Without further ado, I will hand over to Mayor, who will read his statement in English and then summarize for us in isiZulu, and then we will take questions from media colleagues.
Thank you, Sis Lindy, our head of communication. Greetings to the Deputy Mayor, as well as the CFO, all the colleagues from the office and the members of the media. Thank you very much for joining us this morning for the post-council meeting media briefing to share with you the outcomes of the meeting which was held yesterday. This media briefing coincides with the beginning of the Youth Month, where we commemorate and celebrate the heroism of the youth of 1976 and their contribution in the struggle for freedom. For those who will be having time, you can join us at 1 o'clock at KCAP, where the mayor will be having a dialogue with the young people to deal with issues that affects the youth in our city. As the leadership of eThekwini Municipality, we wish all the youth of eThekwini a successful Youth Month, and we commit ourselves to create a conducive environment for young people to realize their dreams. The 2023-2024 budget was adopted yesterday with an overwhelming majority by councillors from different political parties. The total budget for 2023-2024 financial year is 65.5 billion rands, made up of an operating budget of 57.4 billion rands and a capital budget of 8.1 billion rands. Councillors were unanimous in saying that this is a balanced budget that responds to the service delivery and socio-economic needs of the people of eThekwini. But other councillors, because we are in politics, they politic using budget. Of course, that is acceptable in the chambers because we are politicians. We have to agree and we have to disagree where we disagree. When crafting this budget, we took into consideration the tough economic climate and the catastrophic disasters that have plagued our city. For this reason, we were able to revise down the tariffs that were contained in the draft budget that was tabled at the end of March 2023. The decision to revise the tariffs was also informed by the thorough engagements we have held with various communities and stakeholders who made it clear that the proposed tariffs were unaffordable. Normally, people, when you have budget hearings, they treat them as just a talk show without any difference that will be seen after those engagements. But today we'll be giving an account of how we responded to the plight of the poor, to the plight of the ratepayers who have raised issues with us. As a listening and caring government, the council approved the following tariffs. These are revised tariffs between the draft budget, which we presented in March, and the one we're presenting yesterday. The electricity has been revised from 21.91% to 18.49%, which is aligned to NESA increase. With regard to water, the council approved 14.9% increase for residential customers and 15.9% for businesses. Some of the key drivers of the water tariff increase include 5.5% increase imposed by Mungeni Water to us as a city, as a water authority, a 3% increase related to the construction of the essential Upper Mkomazi Dam. We've been warned that if we do not construct Mkomazi Dam and start now, we'll be having a big challenge in this city of the drought. Repairs and maintenance contributes around 4.3% and security around 1%. Why we are giving all these details is because this is the only tariff which we did not review, which we are appealing to the members of the public to accept it as we have proposed it, as we have approved it, because it is built out of all these challenges that we have just highlighted. This is how 14.9% is constituted. When our employees go out to maintain our infrastructure and our assets, they normally get robbed, some they get killed, so all that impact. So as a result, we now incur a cost of security. When our employees are going out in areas which are dangerous zones, we have to employ the services of security companies. The property rates tariff increase is reduced from 8.9% to 7.9%. We also had the grievance about the rates. This is how we could make a change. The sanitation tariff increase is reduced from 11.9% to 10.9% for domestic, and from 12.9% to 11.9% for businesses. And the refuse tariff increase is reduced from 8% to 6.9%. If you look at how all these reductions that we have incurred to respond to the request of our communities and the ratepayers, they are now totaling and amounting to R500 million. It's 500 million rand. You'll recall that when we introduced our budget in March, we're talking about 66 billion rands, but now we talk about 65.5 billion rands. So that's how this have impacted. Remember that when you constitute a budget, you also allocate it to various units for services of the community. So that has impacted on that, but it's a reasonable decision to take because people raised the concern, which we knew about it, but we had to balance the numbers. On social relief, over 866,000 households will benefit from the social relief package in the next financial year at cost of 4.47 billion rands. The relief package includes the following: residential properties valued up to 350,000 will be exempted from paying rates. For all other properties valued above 350,000, no rates will be charged on the first 120,000 rand. A further allowance will be afforded on application to all residential property owners with a total household income of 4,220 rands and less, and with a property value of more than 350,000 and up to 650,000 rand in terms of property. Properties owned by the pensioners, child-headed households, disability grantees, and the medical boarded committee members will be or are exempt from paying rates where their annual rates do not exceed the maximum rebate of 5,290 rand. A maximum limit of 2.5 million rand applies on the value of property in respect of the pensioners as part of the rebate. All other properties will be liable for rates less the rebate. This is indeed a pro-poor budget which seeks to grow the economy of our city and accelerate service delivery, and also make us to respond to the issues raised by committee members. Hijacking of municipal vehicles. We are concerned that our service delivery efforts are hampered by the hijacking of our vehicles. Almost every day, municipal staff are being hijacked while on duty, and this causes trauma, delays this causes trauma, which also delays service delivery. We call upon members of the committee to work with us to fight this scourge. Let's come to the national issue or national question, load shedding. As the leadership of the municipality, we acknowledge the concerns that have been raised by the community regarding additional load shedding. You will recall that eThekwini municipality enjoyed reduced levels of load shedding since last year's floods. This was a temporary relief measure to allow eThekwini to fix critical infrastructure that was severely damaged. To a large extent, we have done this as a city. More than 100 transmission substations were affected by the floods, and almost all of them are now working with some minor protection concerns. Currently, the national grid is severely constrained, as evidenced by almost daily load shedding. The winter season always has an impact on the electricity supply, as the demand also increases, thus necessitating the reduction of the available load. Therefore, to protect the national grid, it is no longer possible to continue the reduced load shedding for eThekwini. That's a determination by ESCOM. Honoring our load shedding obligation is also a condition of our electricity supply license. We have published the new load shedding schedule well before it came into effect to allow customers to plan, and our communication plan has been all over in different media platforms to explain the load shedding before the schedule, before it kicked in on the 25th of this month. The schedule can be accessed on the city's website, on social media platforms. We have also developed an interactive map to make it easy for customers to determine their load shedding schedule. The map is available on the city's website at www.durban.gov.za. The schedule also considers the impact of load shedding on traffic congestion in the city center during peak times. Another key consideration is protecting industrial customers to preserve the number of jobs in the city. We need to preserve these jobs. Industrial nodes will only experience load shedding from stage 7 for a block of 4 hours. And stage 7 is not normally stage that normally kicks in. We hope this will enable them to plan their production around this constraint. With over 800,000 customers and 15,000 substations, balancing the load and the block's rotation is an extremely difficult task, but we have strived for an equitable and fair spread of load shedding across all customers in eThekwini. As a city, we will continue to invest aggressively in electricity infrastructure within the constraint of budget availability. Yesterday, we announced an investment of over 2 billion rands in the next financial year to upgrade and maintain our electricity infrastructure. With the increased load shedding, another area of concern for residents becomes the impact of water infrastructure. Some of our water infrastructure will be excluded from load shedding to minimize impact on water supply. For example, Inanda Dam, which is the biggest dam that supplies the rest of areas in eThekwini, Wiggins water treatment works, and Durban Heights water treatment works, to mention the few. In addition, some of our pump stations have generators and will be able to continue working even during load shedding to continue to pump water to communities. Also, to be excluded from load shedding are areas where substations were severely damaged and are therefore unsafe to switch on and off, including Isipingo, Prospecting, and Maran Ridge, where the substation burned down last year and early this year. We recognize the inconvenience and negative impact of load shedding on eThekwini customers, and it is deeply regretted. But protecting the grid is a national priority. We call upon our residents to work with us to minimize electricity usage. We also call on residents to help us minimize trips after load shedding by switching off high load appliances such as stoves and geysers, the swimming pool engines, and all those big machines that consume a lot of energy. On water and sanitation, in an effort to improve water supply in areas that constantly experience water challenges, the municipality is implementing the following interventions. For Ngonyameni area, the municipality has completed the repairs at the Shongweni Reservoir. In Zwelbomvu, we have completed the first phase of the installation of the inlet pipe, and we have allocated budget for phase 2 in the next financial year. Installation of booster pump in Keto Ridge Pump Station to increase water supply in Ward 1 in Gwaklimba. Installation of pipeline and pump station in Amatata Reservoir to improve water supply in Umzinyati and surrounding areas. Construction of 2 water reservoirs to improve water supply in Adams, Kwamakuta, and Bumbulu. This will also be coupled with the other investment that we have announced in the budget for the Southern Aqueduct, which is the main pipe that must service Umlazi, Ntsimbini, Folweni, Makuta, and the surrounding areas. Adams, Kwamakuta, and Bumbulu, the capital budget of 1 billion that has been allocated for the next financial year. The capital budget of 1 billion that has been allocated for next financial year will be directed towards these projects. You will recall that a few weeks ago, we reported that the communities of Ntuzuma, Inanda, Lindelani, and some part of Kwamashu in the north of Durban were experiencing water challenges as a result of damage to the power station, which affected the functioning of water reservoirs and pump stations in the area. Our teams have worked tirelessly to repair the power station, and we are pleased that some communities in these areas are now receiving water, but some are still experiencing some challenges, and our technical teams are on the ground to deal with those challenges. With regards to sanitation, the municipality has allocated a capital budget of 1.2 billion rand to accelerate the work we have already started of upgrading of various wastewater treatment works, sewer lines, and pump stations. Over the MTREF, 2.9 billion rand will be spent on the expansion and upgrading of 16 wastewater treatment works that are currently not operating at full capacity due to flood damage and aging infrastructure as a factor. On the disruption of bus services in Umlazi, firstly, we would like to apologize to the members of the community in Umlazi for not accessing the transport as expected. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past few days, we have been receiving complaints from members of the community about the deterioration of municipal bus service in Umlazi. Passengers have been reporting that the buses transport students at the expense of passengers who are supposed to be prioritized. We want to state it categorically, clear that we have no arrangement with the bus operator to ferry students from tertiary institutions, and therefore the use of municipal buses to ferry students is irregular and a violation of the vehicle lease between the bus operator and the municipality. The bus operator also happened to have a private contract with Mangosuthu University of Technical. Our officials are addressing this breach of lease agreement with the operator so that this irregularity can stop immediately. We have also put a plan in place to expedite the improvement of bus service in Umlazi. As from Monday this week, 130 buses were made available, and this is improving on a daily basis. We would like to apologize to the community once again of Umlazi and everyone who was affected by this challenge. On Electron Road illegal dumping, ladies and gentlemen, the municipality is attending to the challenge of illegal dumping at an Electron Road in Springfield. Compounding the problem was the downsizing of the Pisasa Road landfill site in 2016 due to diminishing landfill airspace capacity. This has resulted in users of landfill sites illegally dumping waste outside the Pisasa landfill property. The municipality has put measures in place to enforce the city bylaws, clear dumped waste, and make the area safe. Our joint operation teams are on the ground and we have given them 2 weeks to clear the dumped waste, but also to develop a turnaround plan to deal with the repurposing of the very same site. On delivery of statues, ladies and gentlemen, we also want to take this opportunity to report that the 2 statues of President O.R. Tambo and former President and President Nelson Mandela that will be erected along Church Walk have now arrived. This project started in 2017 when the council took a resolution to transform the city's precinct by having statues of O.R. Tambo and Nelson Mandela along Church Walk. However, the delivery of statues was negatively affected by the outbreak of COVID-19. So we are pleased that the statues have been delivered successfully and are kept in one of our storage facilities while we are concluding the process of installing them. Both statues cost roughly 22 million rands. This was the cheapest figure as compared to others who wanted almost the same price for only one statue. On allegations of misconduct about the city manager, in the past few weeks, the media has been constantly reporting allegations of misconduct against our city manager, Mr. Musampel. Following these reports, I have steps as the city manager's immediate supervisor to verify the existence of the CIIU reports that formed the basis of the negative media spreads or reports. I'm finalizing this report for it to be tabled at the next council meeting, which will be convened by the Speaker to deal with the outstanding matters which were not completed yesterday. On the issue of Deputy City Manager responsible for corporate and human capital, the Council has authorized the City Manager to appoint an independent investigator to investigate allegations of misconduct against Deputy City Manager, Ms. Kim Makatini, emanating from the alleged fraudulent diploma and unverified degree. The appointed investigator will be expected to submit within 30 days of his or her appointment a report with recommendations to the City Manager. The City Manager shall table the report of the independent investigator before the Council within 7 days from the date of receipt thereof for a decision to be made on the following by the Council: whether to institute disciplinary proceedings against the DCM or not, and determination of the seriousness of the alleged misconduct and the disciplinary process to be followed. The DCM will be asked to give reasons within 7 days of being notified of this Council resolution why, pending finalization of the investigation, she should not be suspended on full pay. The Council further delegated the Executive Committee of the Municipality with authority to consider the representations by the DCM, if any, and take a decision. Since we'll be waiting for a period of 7 days, so we'll have to make a determination whether the response, is it positive or negative, does it warrant the Council to continue and engage on the matter. Table tennis and other sporting and art and culture activities in eThekwini. Last week, we hosted a week-long International Table Tennis Federation Championship at Nkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center. We were humbled by the decision of the ITTF and all its members for giving the African continent another chance to host this tournament since Cairo in Egypt was given the games back in 1939. This was a historical event. This tournament contributed immensely to the economy of the city, as over 44 countries were competing in this showpiece, which was televised in all sport channels. This once again demonstrated that eThekwini, Durban remains the preferred destination for major international events. In 2 weeks, the city will be welcoming thousands of athletes who will be participating in the 48th Comrade Marathon Down Run. The full return of the ultimate human race into KwaZulu-Natal sporting calendar reminds us that when we pull together, we'll triumph against any adversity in the true spirit of the combat marathon. This coming Saturday, the city will be hosting the second Ingoma Yesizwe at the People's Park, one of the biggest events and signature events in eThekwini. This concept seeks to unite all the traditional music artists and creating a platform for them to showcase their talent. And we are delighted that Amakosi, coming from different traditional authorities, will also be participating, led by Isilo Samabandla Onke. For us as a city that is still recovering from the devastating floods, the fact that we continue to host such major international events is a strong indication that we are indeed bouncing back. The mayor is leaving the country on Saturday to welcome another biggest international event on climate change, which will be hosted by this city. We call upon all our social partners to work with us to accelerate service delivery and improve socio-economic conditions of people of eThekwini. I therefore thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for covering our events, including the table tennis, which really brought more of economic spin-offs in our city. Thank you very much. Kuthiwa ngiphendule kancane ngesizulu. Bayazi inkinga yami. Kodwa ngizoyisummarize nje. Sizoyifinqa ngesizulu. Isizulu sami siqinile, sizozwakala kahle. Njengoba sibe sibingelele ku Deputy Mayor no CFO nanonke njengoba nithamele lesithangami, sifisa ke ukuthatha leli thuba sibonge kakhulu ukuthi nihlanganyele kanye nathi ukuthi sinazise ngeinqumo zomkhandlu obuhlezi izolo walapha eThekwini. Lesithangami ke sabezindaba siqondene nosuku lapho esithi khona nenyanga yokuthi kube inyanga yabantu abasha eningizimu Afrika yonke negujwayo kuleli lizwe lakithi. Ngakho ke sifiselela bonke abantu abasha ukuthi nakuba kuneyinselelo empilweni zabo kodwa bekwazi ukuqhubeka nokuyisa impilo phambili futhi bebhukule belwe kanzima ukuthi beshintshe impilo zabo zibe ngcono. Ukwamukelwa kwesabelo zimali ebesisethula izolo sika 2023-2024. Lesi sabelo zimali esisethulile izolo su 65.5 billion rand esakhiwe ke isabelo zimali sokusebenza sika 57.4 billion rand mase kuba sokuhanjiswa kwenqala sizinda sika 8.1 billion rand. Samukelwe ngenkulu inhlokomo amakhansela aseThekwini ayiningi. Njengoba sazi ukuthi sikwipolitiki thina singama politicians, kuyadebatewa kubangwe kuliwe kodwa okuhle ukuthi igcine approviwe ibudget yaseThekwini ama organizations amaningi. Kodwa ngabalula nje ambalwa angazange samukele lesi sabelo zimali amabili Democratic Alliance kanye neNkatha Freedom Party abangasemukelanga lesisabelo sezimali. Amakhansela ke azoqhubeka ke nomsebenzi ukuthi sishintshe idolobha lethu sikwazi ukuphendula einkingeni abantu ababhekene nazo neinkinga zomnotho njengoba sazi sonke ukuthi sike sabhekana nezinhlekelele eziningi eThekwini. Ngakho ukuqhathanisa thina namanye amadolobha kube into enzima kakhulu ngoba alikho idolobha libe nezingqinamba ezinkulu kangaka njengeTheku emva kwe-COVID-19 laba nesibhicongo esikhulu civil unrest ungabi khona kozinzo kwaba khona ukutatshwa kwempahla ezitolo nokulinyazwa kweinkampani kwaphela amathuba omsebenzi abantu. Emva kwalokho kwase kwaba nezikhukhula ezinkulu ezishiya umonakalo omkhulu kakhulu kwinqala sizinda yethu. Kungalesi sizathu ke sibone kufanelekile ukuthi sibuyekeze sikwazi ukuya ebantwini sobazisa ngebudget yethu mase sibazisile silalele izethulo zabo esikujabulelayo ukuthi zonke izethulo abazethule kuthina sizamukelile. Ezinye zalezo zethulo ukuthi engathi kubiza kakhulu ukukhokhela intela lapha eThekwini bayibeka lezo ikhala abantu bakithi. Ingakho ke sibe sesibuyele emuva siyobuyekeza ibudget. Ibudget engikhulume ngayo sayithula ngoMarch yayiwu-66 billion rand. Sibeke sesibuyekeza ke amanani ezintela ukwenzela ukuthi sizwakalise ukuthi sinalo uzwelo kubantu nemphakathi yakithi nama-ratepayers nosomabhizinisi ngey'khala abazethulile kuthina. Ngoba siwumasipala konakekelayo futhi obalalelayo abantu nezakhamuzi, sibeke sesigunyaza-ke ukuthi cha, lamanani asiwashintshe sikwazi ukuthi siphendule ey'nkingeni abantu bakithi ababhekene nazo. Kodwa kwashintsheni kwethu njengoba bese sisibeke sabaphezulu isabelo zimali bese sisabile ngokweminyango ehlukahlukene kamasipala, kwafuneka sibuye sibuyekeze-ke leso sabelo ngoba ibe sekufanele yehlike ibudget ithi isuke ku-65 billion ku-66 billion iye ku-65.5 billion rand, okusho ukuthi yephuke ngo-half webhiliyoni ibhiliyoni yethu. Ugesi-ke uzoma ngale ndlela elandelayo. Ngokwesiphakamiso sokuqala besithe uzonyuswa ngo-21.91%, sasibuyekeza sabalalela abantu njengamanje ugesi intela yakhona izonyuka ngo-18.49% ngokuhambisa-ke nangokwegunya nangamanani ashajwa uNESA. Amanzi wona sicela ukuxolisa kakhulu emphakathini ukuthi wona asikwazanga ukuthi siwashintshe isiphakamiso sokuqala besinaso ngoba ziningi kakhulu iy'nselelo efanele sibhekane nazo ukuthi silungise isimo samanzi eThekwini. Ezinye zalezo y'nselela ukuthi kufanele sibhekane nemali umngeni water onyusa ngayo inani lamanzi njengoba nathi siwakhokhela kumngeni water. Okwesibili ukwenyuka okuhlobene kakhulu nokwakhiwa kwedamu elishashayo elikhulu li-Upper Mkhomazi Dam ezocost u-24 billion rands. So kule mali kulamatariff sifaka u-3% eminyakeni emithathu okwamanje ezokwazi ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sibhilde lama-cost ukuthi sibhekane nalesabelo efanele sibhekane naso ngoba uhulumeni kwazolonke usazise ukuthi uzosixhasa ngo-half wale mali, kodwa u-half wale mali u-50%, u-25% wawo oku-6 billion uzoba i-grant, mese kuthi umuntu 25% o-6 billion wona uzoba yi-loan kuthina, mese kuthi lo 12 billion esele ngaphandle kufanele siwubhekeleleke. Ingakho-ke izakhamuzi zaseThekwini zizothinteka kakhulu ukuthi sikwazi ukusevisa lo msebenzi omuhle ukuthi sivikele ukuba nesomiso ngoba sesitsheniwe ososayensi ukuthi isomiso siyeze eThekwini. Uma singasukumi manje siliqala idamu silakhe manje sizoba nezinkulu iy'ngqinamba kuya phambili. Nangale nje kwey'ngqinamba ezisazofika zikhona njengoba sikhuluma ukuthi amanzi esinawo eThekwini awenele, ingakho enikeza umzima kakhulu ukuthi ehlinzekele umphakathi ngendlela efanele. Kodwa futhi enye into ebenomthelela kulokhu u-3% or u-1%, lo 1% oshajelwa ezokuphepha ukuthi abasebenzi bethu mabephuma beyolungisa amanzi belungisa inqalasizinda yethu babanjwe inkunzi bayabulawa abanye, lokho kuntshotshwe nezimoto, konke-ke lokudinga ukuthi sibe ne-cost esiyitholayo ukuthi sikhokhele ezokuphepha. Kanti futhi okunye kube nalomthelela